Now for the final time of the Lewis & Co Real Elite Masters, we're heading up to the qualifier in Northwich on the stretch of the River Weaver at the Red Lion. It's been a journey of mainly downs, disappointment, missed chances, but there's been a few ups because it's been such an enjoyable event. But I've just one more chance of trying to get to that final up at Loch Ken. So for the last time, it's the road to Scotland. Hopefully we can get there. Hopefully we can make it. Let's get to the shop, get the draw done and see how we get on. Right, as you've seen, we've drawn peg 4. Now, this, when I come down for a look, I think the guy called Martin, he was on here catching bream. So look at this for a peg. I think there's an overflow there where the old river is over there. But look at this, nice big bay. Load of reed cover, obviously holds a few skimmers and bream. So I've drawn my plums off, which I needed to think. But there's a little bit of a twist today. There's obviously 2 sections of 5, but due to low numbers, 3 was needed to go through for the final. So what Richie said is 2 section winners and then 3rd place, so the best 3rd place in the match, so behind the 2 section winners. So if you're the 2nd best in one of the 2 sections, you go through as well. Now that means ideally you could be fishing for like just 2nd in section, maybe if someone catches a few bream. So I'm going to need a bit of cautious approach, I think. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to fish the same match as I did last time. Just forget that long pole. I'm going to find the 8 and 9 foot. I think that's really important. I've got some, let me find these. Got some shallow rigs and stuff for the pole as well. Ooh, big mush in your face. But I've tied up some of these, some little dead ships. Or dead ships. No, shippers they're called. So a couple of shippers just for fishing through the water. I'm going to fish like 8 and 9 foot. Wherever it is on the pole, that's where I'm going to fish. Loose feed pinkies, and then obviously when I come, I seen where that guy was chucking, and it's literally, you can imagine the reed line there, draw a straight line, that's where he chucked. So I've got 2 rods set up. I'm going to have like a positive one, like last time, a method on that one, and I'm going to have a normal feeder on that, just with my feeder system link I've got. I brought me gears everywhere. I've just walked down. I've just been absolutely hammered by the ground, but got some distance sticks so I can make sure I'm on the right distance, so I can bait up with my bigger rod and then chuck my little rod over the top, because I'm going to need to feed. So that's the plan. Dead simple setup. Just need to get it done today. I've got the peg to do it. I've got the chance. Let's not mess this one up. So let's get set up, and I'll join you when I'm on my peg, probably before the start or just before the start, and see what we've got and how the peg plums up and stuff. But yeah, it's exciting, but at least I know what I need to do today instead of being a bit optimistic. I know what I need to do. I know what hooks I need to fish. You can actually double hook on this river, so I've tied some of them up as well, which is probably frowned upon by a few people, but you're allowed to double hook. So I'm going to need to do it if I can catch some skimmers and stuff, because on the last match, which I fished on the oak tree section, I lost all my footage because of the heat. I've got a few where I lost an eel, that was a bit disappointing, but I've lost all the footage of that, so I did rubbish on that one. Caught a pound 9, got heat stroke, literally, but I don't think I drew the tench peg, and I was obviously trying to fish too positively. This one's nice and cautious approach. Put a bit of bait in short wherever it's 89 foot, and then that feeder line, and just see it from here, and hopefully we can get the job done on the last qualifier. So I'm gonna get off waffling, get the gear set up, and get set up now. All in! Right, so that's the all in. So bit of a rush round before, but I'm just gonna put a couple of feeder falls in on my feeder line. 3 or 4. I've just literally bait up feeder, a window feeder, in line with that tree. Just slightly downstream. Just going to put 3 or 4 of them in. And the reason why I've done this first is just because I want to start on that. Now what I've done as well is I've set one pole line up, but what I've also done is I've set one on the bottom. It's like 8 foot deep, it's nice and flat. It's nice and flat, got this hot in front of me, but then I've set up like a 4 foot and a 6 foot rig for like through the water. But also what I've done as well is plumb them up. So what I mean by that is I've literally come back, found out where it's 6 foot, found out where it's 4 foot, and all I'm going to do is just loose feed like little bits of bait there. So what I mean by that is little bits of like castor or pinky, just see if I can get a nick of fish and get a bite, obviously. Because like I said, I want to try and nick fish and get through. I don't want to, literally, the ideal scenario is if I just chuck this tip in and it just wangs around with a 3 pound bream every chuck, but that is not going to happen in the real world. So what I'm going to do is put a bit of corn in this one, a bit of castor. Beauty of these is just scoop them up, scoop everything up, put it nice and softly, so when it hits the water it just smashes out, creates that cloud. And one thing I've done is the count of 3, so like if it goes straight into the bait it's like a foot, like a count of 1, which is probably like 3 foot deep, but I've come up like, I think I'm on the shelf where I am, so I just feel like with it being warm, that's going to be like the best scenario to catch anything. So we're just going to have regular chucks, and just 4 of them in just to start with, and then literally going to have regular chucks on a little feeder. But I'm trying to find my pole, so all I'm going to do is put my pole. I've just made a little mix up of here of Black Lake and what's in there, some leam and some sweet skimmer. So just literally a nice loose ball there. I'm just going to pop that in just slightly downstream, ever so slightly in line with the tree. That's where I'm going to loose feed my pinkies, and then I'm going to literally put in a tiny little rock hard nugget of this, rock hard, with a few casters and a couple of pinkies, just on that 6 foot line. You can lean forward here, and then literally I'm just going to put another little rock hard nugget. There's like a 4 foot line in front of me, a few pinkies as well. Put it there. They're close size, but that's what we're doing. So I need to put, now because I'm double hooking, all I'm going to do is literally get a pre-tied hook length, put a knot in the middle of it, and then lasso a hook onto that knot. That's just the easiest way to do it. And then I'm just going to start on a little feeder. Little feeder, just gonna both fingers and thumbs, and I'm gonna give that pole time to settle and rest and see what happens on it, on this tip sort of thing. So create a little lasso there. I've got some little 3-inch hook clamps in here, just those 16 fluorocarbon. I think it's an N40, I think it is. Little black hook. All I'm going to do is literally lasso my hook on the back of that. I know 2 hooks are frowned upon by a lot of people, but rules are rules and you're allowed to use them, so I just feel it gives you an advantage as well. You can slide that down to the knot. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's nice. It's stuck in the tree all the time. Now I'm probably going to put like a little bit of worm on, say my bottom hook, and then this would be interesting trying to get my hook went through here now. A little bit of worm on the bottom hook and then maybe a maggot or something on the top up. Sorry, I'm not speaking very well, I'm just trying to concentrate and put it through. Oh, fingers and thumbs. I'm going to get fishing. There we go, we're on. What I'm going to do is put a little feeder on because I'm going to have quite regular chucks. I'm not going to try and put them like a traditional bream sort of thing. I'm just going to literally, what we're going to put on that hook. Red of port. See their pinkies. And the bottom hook, I'm going to put a piece of worm in a maggot. Got some little worms here. Not red worms, just a bit little. And maggot. Try and get a red maggot. There we go. Got more. The only thing is, when you use barb ducks, it's a nightmare trying to sort them out, and especially when you've got 2 lots of them. There we go. Right, fishing now. In line with the tree. Didn't like that way that went actually. Need to settle down to my match, but that's what we've done today. We've just started fishing with obviously loose feed a few lines and that's better. That's the one. Should have a rod rest really. Might be able to spin that off. I think I've got my rod rest with me. Everything everywhere. Pull that up. So yeah, first couple of chucks, I'm going to keep it. Hey, oh, a rattle then, I swear. Was that me? Might have been a rattle. I don't know if that was me or a rattle. Got a little stopwatch. It might have been me actually. Yeah, so I've got a little stopwatch and I have quite quick chucks just to get a bit of column of bait coming through. So you probably spend the first hour or so fishing this just to get some bites, see if I get some bites, and then literally I'll look on that pole. I'm just going to loose feed a few pinkies, a few down here. Probably going to fish a few casters a little bit further just as something different. So yeah, that's how we set the peg up. Obviously it's not going to be frantic carnage fishing straight away, but it's a sign then. What's going on here? Might have a little. Something's having a little pluck at that then. It would be small fishing. The beauty of it is if I keep getting plucked, I can take them, and obviously you come back with a fish and it's on the double pinky. You can literally change it, put 2 maggots on, or a bit bigger hook bait or something, change around, see what we're fishing for. But bring that in actually. There's something on. I thought there was something on that. I don't know what it is. Something. That's not bad first chuck. The perch on the worm on the bottom. Yeah. Oh. Ow! Just spiked me. So that was first chuck on the worm. So that's a nice little. I think I need to. Just literally get used to chucking a bit regular, but a little piece of worm. That was the best last time, remember? Little bits of worm, double worm, little chunk with a little bit of maggot on. They were the best sort of hook baits. So we're learning from last time, but yeah, that's gone so far. I've had a little perch on the tip. Hopefully with a sign, things to sign. Oh, finger signs to come, can't speak now. But I just need to get used to trying to get this tip set correctly. And then obviously you can read my bites and then hopefully put more fish in the net, but that's how we set the peg up. That brain sunk. Correctly down to that tip. Get everything nice in position. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. That's how we set it up. Just loose feeding a few pinkies on the pole. 7 metre line. A few pinkies down there. Obviously a bit of caster a little bit further, but that's the line. I'm not going to be scared just to keep little nuggets of bait going through that peg all the time. So we'll keep going, persevere, and I'll come back with a little update after. Right, so just over an hour in, and it was a little bit slow to start with. Obviously I had that perch when I was on the tip too, and then I didn't have a bite for like nearly probably 40 minutes. Just kept casting regular, 2 or 3 minutes for the first like half an hour, and then the next half an hour after that I've just done 5-minute chucks. But what I found is I missed a couple of bites off some skimmers. So I was like playing around with my hook baits, and then all I've done is I put like 2 tiny bits of worm on, chucked out. I had one of these skimmers about 8 ounce. So then on the top hook, I put like a tiny like caster size of worm, chucked out again. I've started putting some worms for the feeder, and literally, as I've done that, I've had like 2 little skimmers, probably like 8 ounce a piece. 6 to 8 ounce a piece, and then I've had a littler one, but I'm getting some bites now. So all I've done now is I've just had a little bit of worm left. Because I'm getting some bites, I feel like just slopping up and making a little mush. So all I did was just I had some worm left before I chopped some new ones, because I don't like doing loads, chopping loads up. I just put some casters and then some ground bait, and then put a little bit of water to make a little stodge, and I just chucked in, and then I just lost a little skimmer then, probably like 2 or 3 ounce. But I'm getting some signs and stuff, so I put a little window feeder on. And I haven't been on my pole yet, but I was about to go on my pole, and then obviously we're getting a few bites on this tip, so I want to stick at it, just because I feel like if it does die on the tip, I can literally feed my tip again, put a couple of feeders in, and come back on the pole. Now what I've probably found is, like last time, when I fished the tip, obviously I was fishing for like a lot bigger fish, a bigger stamp fish for like probably 10 ounce to, obviously I had that £3 bream. And today I just feel like I got beat in that section by Ronnie, who was fishing for like little skimmers, and I feel like he'd have put worms through a feeder and just kept chucking. So I've just playing around with that, playing around with my hook bait sizes. So I've got like a little piece on the top up and then like a little pea-sized piece on the bottom, and if I need to I can put a bigger bit on or a smaller bit depending on what I've got in my peg. So I've just been having little like, I've been leaving it out for 5 minutes, but I just had a little spell then, that's why I come on. Obviously keeping them pole lines topped up. But it'd be typical now where I come on this to try and like talk through and see anything, and won't catch anything, but that's at the minute I'm thinking just, there's a tip, there's a bite in there, come on, develop, come on. Little indication all the time, it's just whether it's either small fish plucking at it or them little skimmers. I just need to find a way of catching them smaller skimmers, so I've got to be careful what I put on my hook to obviously try and catch these skimmers. So I feel like a nice little caster sized bit of worm's been the best. Just gonna see, I've got that mush. As soon as I've used that up, I'll chop in just a little handful of worms again. Maybe switch back to my normal feeder, see if that works, and then just trying to chop and change and keep a few bites coming. But it took like 40 minutes to start getting any signs, which is obviously when I did it last time I fed a little bit more bait, which may be the case, but because I don't want to sort of like bust me line sort of thing and put loads of bait and pray that's the way to catch him, I'm just gonna put a little bit of bait in to try and drag some fish in, and then I've just literally kept chucking and chucking and chucking, and maybe that's why it's obviously gone a bit longer. I don't really know. That's what I'm thinking, is like if I put a bigger bed of bait out, would have reduced the chances of catching these smaller skimmers, or would have attracted a few more bigger bream. But the lad said there was an open match on here yesterday. This peg actually didn't weigh in, but which that doesn't matter, but the lad said there was no bream caught, which makes me think you can't really target. Don't get me wrong, if it's a bit overcast and a bit duller, I feel like you'd be more tempted to put a bit more bait in and be patient with bigger bait spots, you know. But I'll keep going with this for the minute. So I did have some plucks on that one then. It just might be, the worms might have literally been had off. I'll have a look, yeah, tube that one. Might have been a perch or something. Maybe get one of these smaller bits of worm, just put a little piece on. Sort of like match the little pieces which we're feeding. Probably a little bit less than that because I minced them. Just literally getting the mushing up my ground, my feeder. Little window feeder, 30 grammer. Cast straight as a die then. Sink me braid. So if I don't get any bites again, I'm not going to leave it too long and see if we get any bites as it goes through, and then if you don't, I literally might put some bait in and have a look on that pole. Cagsy come down and said like 4 skimmers is winning the section, so not too far behind. See if we can link it up with a few pole fish and then obviously chuck back out on the tip. It could work well for us, but I don't want to say I've got to make a decision at the minute because I don't really know. Just need to concentrate and that's a bite. Gone too early? I might have done. Bugger. Gone too early? No, I haven't. I don't think I have. No, I haven't. Yes, come on. This these actual smaller. Whee. These are a bit smaller, these skimmers, but see, that's on the top hook. Hooks everywhere. A bit smaller, them skimmers, but I don't mind. Hooks everywhere, stuck in the net. That was a little piece of worm again. Slime off. It's slime off. Little piece of worm. Tiny, like caster size bit, which has been ideal, so I'm just going to literally do it again. Little caster saddle. See that there? That was a really quick bite. So one thing I noticed as well is my bites are quite quick. Mush, mush, mush. What I can do as well, try and keep everything away from my keep net. Ooh, it's all fingers and thumbs. Not used to it really. Keep it down. Everything nice and tight. So yeah, we're getting quick bites when we get them, which makes me think they're following the feeder down. That's why I just literally mushed a bit of ground bait up. So I'll just pop that somewhere for a minute and put it back in. Put it in there. What I'm doing is getting a little blob of worms. Not many. I don't like leaving it for a while. I just feel like it goes horrible and weird. I just like doing fresh chops. That one thing I've noticed from like commercial fishing at tunnel. Obviously it's more active, which makes more sense. Just trying to get this tip set. So I wish I knew what I was doing, because I wouldn't be second guessing myself all the time, but in the minute I just feel like, because it's a bit the unknown, I just second guess myself all the time. But mince these worms up. Got nice little mince there, so little pieces. And what I might do is I might put my little feeder back on in a sec. Have a little chuck with that and see how we're going. So yeah, that's what we're catching at the minute. We had a couple of little skimmers on worm. Don't get me wrong, I won't be afraid to, not feed that many, I won't be afraid to try bigger bits and maybe push my peg later on, because I just feel like you do get a few of them bigger fish, you're laughing, but that's the thing. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and hope for the best, because if it doesn't work, as I found out on that last match, fishing for the tench just makes you look stupid. So put the pole in the way. So that's how we're doing at the minute. Little catch up for you. Obviously, catching a few fish on worms. We haven't yet gone on the pole, but we've had a couple of smaller skimmers and we're getting a couple of signs, which is, I feel, what it's all about on this sort of fishing, is just getting a few signs, a few fish in the peg and going from there. So yeah, little update for you. A few skimmers. Not very massive ones at the minute, but like I said, it won't take long before some other fish move in if they need to and stuff like that, so we'll keep going. Probably come back and we've had a little look on the pole, because I feel like that's coming up soon. This just can't last forever. But yeah, a couple of skimmers for you. When we've had the bites, it's been quite quick, so feeding all the other lines up. Hopefully we can just drop on them and catch a few more, so we can pop back when we've had a few more. Hopefully skimmers and maybe even the bream. Right, just a little update, just over 2 hours, no, just under 2 hours left now. And to be honest, I'm going to have to make a decision here. Like, I feel like 3.5 to £4 winning the section, and I've probably got like 2 and a bit maybe. Not, I don't really, if I'm guessing, I've probably got 2 and a bit, so I feel like I'm £1 or 2 behind now. I just dropped on this pole because I thought I might be able to get some bites on it, and I thought that'd be my ideal scenario if I could just tick over on this, but I can't get any bites on it, so what I'm gonna have to do is I'm thinking I might just gamble and just see if I can catch any skimmers on that tip line. Just sit on that for probably like the last hour and a half and hope I get like a few bigger skimmers, but I feel like the people in the section that are going to beat me, that's what they're going to do. We've got Graham on the next peg. I know he just fishes the tip a lot, and then Cagsy said the two guys down the bottom end, literally on peg 1 and 2, have only set up tips. And where this pole is just a little bit too slow and they're not massive fish. See, that's a little chublet there. So they're not massive fish. I'm just trying to eke my way through, but feel like that's the best chance of me getting through. And I know, like even if it's come third in the match sort of thing, I think you're going to need 7 to 10 pound. And obviously we're not going to catch, miraculously I'm not going to catch £5 on the pole. And if it was steady away and I was getting a bite of chuck, I think I'd have just settled on it, but because I can't really catch on it, do that then. When you catch on it, I just feel like the important thing to do is just literally, I'm going to take a little gamble, I think. Might not pay off, might be a kick in the backside, but it's one of them things I just can't, beg pardon, can't see me lining anything up on the pole. And don't get me wrong, when I've chucked the tip back out, it's been absolutely motionless, so it's a bit of a predicament really. If you were getting an odd bite on the tip, you'd feel like you could tick your way, and then hopefully if you got a bigger fish, but I feel like that's my only way of catching a few. Now last time, obviously this is like the perfect time, which when I caught them bigger fish last time on that match, this is when I caught in this scenario. Just catching an odd fish shallow now, which I feel like this made me what, I don't really know, I'm in two minds of what to do. No one's catching anything, but I'm not really sure whether I'm doing the right thing. But I think just persevere and just keep putting fish in the net. I think we might be able to tick over, but I don't really know, I'm in two minds. Nick's just come down speaking to me, and he just said about that he feels like this would be the way to try and win the section, but obviously them skimmers are up the jaunt if you catch a couple. Chuck a couple of nuggets in. Just moving up and down the water and trying to catch a few fish. I'm not really sure what to do. I'm in a bit two minds, but like I say at the minute, yeah, another bite that one. I'm in a bit two minds what to do, so I'll just keep plodding on and let you know what I feel like's gonna happen as the match goes on. Last 7 minutes now, and I've caught a few fish on the pole. It got a little bit better, and what I started doing is just feeding little nuggets of ground bait, just loose feeding the little nuggets. And what I've done is put all my pinkies in. I don't know what that was, it might have been the boat actually. So I put all my pinkies in with my ground bait and stuff, so I stop messing around with that. But just thought I'd have a little chuck on the feeder, and one thing I have had on this feeder is I've had like a little 6-8 ounce skimmer again. I don't know whether that was a bite then or whether it was the boat touching my line. So this is what I mean, I don't really know. It's just all been second guessing work, but I feel like I might have messed up today. If I miss out by a few pound or a few ounces, if I'm close, then I just feel like I could have caught that on the pole, just a bit more positive instead of just loose feeding. I should have literally just put all my faith in just feeding nuggets drawing the fish down. Like, you get little spells of fish, you catch 3 or 4 really quickly, and then it's quite hard to catch them. I haven't really caught anything shallow, or off the bottom, but I just think it might be a little bit too close for that. But I've had an odd fish doing it, but I've got 6 minutes now, but I'm not sure whether that was a bite or it was the boat touching my line. But ideally I could do this wanging round with a nice bream like we had last time, but just don't feel like it's going to happen. In hindsight I should have just dropped in on the pole, but just thought I'd gamble and just try something, try and catch one on the tip, because obviously if I get on the pole I really struggled like the last 30 minutes. I caught 3 or 4 fish and wasn't getting regular bites, so I just thought, right, instead of just persevering and catching 5 more, which it would probably be about 5 or 6 ounce anyway, I thought I'd chuck a tip out, so hopefully get a bite. And obviously I had one first chuck, a nice little skimmer, and then praying it goes round now. Yeah, so I just need to, I've got 4 minutes left, so ideally I could have done without any mishaps and stuff, but I don't feel there's any point going on the pole now, because I'm going to catch 2 or 3 ounce if I drop on the pole, but I need the tip to go, so I'm going to gamble a little bit. Obviously I've put bait out there, so looking back I should have been really, really aggressive on the tip. After that first hour I should have just put a lot in, left it alone and just concentrated on the pole and tried to catch like 60 or 70 fish, and then maybe had a little luck now and again. But I feel like I've done that. That's the thing that's done my head in. So I feel like I've done that well enough. Just literally, I'm going to reel out another one last shot. I don't feel like I've messed around. I've literally tried, but it's one of them things I don't really know. I put a maggot and a worm on. Last chance saloon. Well, there could be, it needs to go round with like a £2, and then we will be going to Scotland, but if not, I don't think we are, but lovely. Come on. Pull that line tight. Sink the braid. Really is a bit of hope now. That's the ideal, having a little stopwatch just makes it nice and easy. Time your bites. Instead of looking at your watch all the time, you just look down, you know whether you're wasting time and stuff. But yeah, like I said, I've probably caught, on the tip I've probably caught £1.5 fish. I've had them 3 skimmers and some littler ones, so maybe £1.5. And then my pole fish, which I don't know, I've probably caught, I want to say that last hour I probably caught 20 odd, and I probably caught 15 before that, so I might have like 40 odd smaller fish, which could easily go £4, so could have £6, and they're saying that's going to be close, but it's going to need this to wang. If this wang round now, it'd be ridiculous, but got a feeling it's not gonna. Maybe I should have just stuck on the pole, but it's ever so strange when the river was running to the left, because it changes. The river was running to the left, I literally didn't catch much, but when it ran to the right I caught really, really well. I don't know whether that's because of the way I've fed. Right, that's actually all out. So that's the end of the match, so we'll get weighed in, get packed up, see how we got on, but it's one of them, they're saying it's close, but I'm just going to get my rods packed away now, see how we get on, and obviously hopefully we've done enough, but who knows, because it's going to be a close one I think. Well, we're all weighed in, so the scales come down from peg 1. Martin on peg 2 had £6.7. Come down, I knew it'd be close because I thought I had some bigger skimmers, or little skimmers, and then I've had a few fish a really good run on that pole when I caught them, and I ended up weighing £6.9, and then Louis next door was admitting to £3.5, and he's weighed £6 dead. So we've done it. We're going to Scotland. I'm absolutely buzzing with that as well, because I tell you what, I've put some pressure on myself trying to get to this final. I'm not really bothered what happens in the final now, because I just feel like I've put the effort in, and it's amazing what you can achieve if you do actually try something. I'm fishing against people that have had years and years of experience on this river. Renownedly, I just go on commercials and stuff like that, and it's just you put your mind to it and you get your fishing aspect of it, get the things right, speak to a few people to help you out. I've had Nick Roberts behind me today, and he just said, keep plodding on with that pole, mate, you'll get there. And it's just little things like that. And he's talked about putting nuggets in, and I've started to cut my loose feed out, put it in my ground bait, and I've caught. So people like that, you need a little bit of help, but I'm absolutely made up for this. Like I said, when I started this at the start of the year, the chance come up to fish it, I had the time to do it, a few qualifiers, 5 qualifiers have been Oldhoff, Moorlands, and 3 on the River Weaver. And just to qualify on the river means more than anything, because obviously not a truly aspect of like renowned, and you would expect, like I said, people come on the rivers. We had like Lee Addy, Steve Fleming, stuff like that. They come on the rivers and they're just brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. It'd be like going to commercial fishing with like Jamie Hughes, Andy Power, Andy Bennett, all them class anglers. But yeah, we've done it. We're going to Scotland. I'm absolutely made up, to be honest. I put a lot of pressure on myself. All I've done is doubt myself through these past matches on the Weaver, just because I'm unsure and unknown. We caught some bream up there, then I drew the bream peg, and today I should have just literally fished the pole. But it's a lot of like commercials. The river changes, the weather changes, different fish feed, so different aspects of fish feed. So I need to get my gear away, get up back to the van, get that golden ticket, because I'm absolutely buzzing. And if I could swear, I'd say I'm effing buzzing, but I can't. So yeah, we'll get back up there, have a little catch up with there, maybe catch up with Richie and Cagsy. But yep, we're going to Loch Ken. Get in. So we just had a victory pint in the pub here on the way back. So yeah, managed to get through to the Scottish final. Absolutely buzzing about that. Now, I'm not sure how to film the final. If you've got any suggestions, hit it in the comments below. But I also want to thank everyone at Real Elite for running a mega little few qualifiers up and down a few different bits of the country, different venues. It's been interesting. Also, everyone that supported the videos, commented, liked, shared, stuff like that, just appreciate it all the time. And I want to say that, yeah, it has been a bit pressure, but the relief now, and just go and enjoy them couple of days fishing up at Loch Ken. It sounds really good fishing, dead aggressive fishing on the pole, some feeder fishing as well. So I need to get a bit of kit tied up for that. I might do a little video of how I've gone about preparing for it, and then obviously we're going to get to the final and see how we get on with that. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're going to Scotland. Get in.